86,000 Roman soldiers marched toward what they believe is certain victory against Hannibal's outnumbered army. They can't see that every step forward is exactly what the Carthaginian general wants. In the next 6 hours, this confident Roman war machine will walk directly into the most perfect military trap in human history, and 70,000 of them will never walk out alive. I'm your host, and what you're about to witness is tactical genius so brilliant it's still taught in military academies 2,200 years later. Hannibal didn't just win a battle, he created a masterpiece of military art that turned Roman strengths into fatal weaknesses. Hit subscribe right now, because in the next 12 minutes, you'll see how one man's brilliant mind destroyed the largest army Rome had ever assembled. The chess match begins. But first, imagine this. You're playing chess against a grandmaster, but you don't know it. Every move you make feels smart and aggressive. You're winning piece after piece, pushing your opponent's pieces exactly where you want them. You can't see that every victory is moving you closer to checkmate. That's exactly what happened at the Battle of Cannae in 2016 BC. And I'm about to show you how Hannibal turned an entire battlefield into a chessboard, where Romans were the pawns, and he was the only player who could see the whole game. Chapter 1. The Setup. Rome's Moment of Maximum Confidence. Picture Rome in 216 BC. Hannibal has been terrorizing Italy for 2 years, crushing Roman armies at Trebia and Lig Trasimene. But instead of being scared, Rome is furious. They've assembled the largest army in their history, 86,000 men, including their best legions and most experienced commanders. The Roman consuls Paulus and Varro are convinced that overwhelming numbers and Roman discipline will finally crush this barbarian upstart. They have nearly twice as many soldiers as Hannibal, superior armor, and better weapons. What could possibly go wrong? Here's what the Romans couldn't know. Hannibal had been planning this battle for months. Every previous engagement, every tactical decision, every apparent retreat had been designed to lure Rome into creating exactly this massive army and marching it to exactly this battlefield. The Romans thought they were finally cornering Hannibal. In reality, Hannibal was positioning them for the greatest military disaster in Roman history. Chapter 2. The Battlefield. Choosing the killing ground. Hannibal chose the battlefield at Cannae with surgical precision. This wasn't random. Every geographical feature was selected to maximize Roman disadvantages while hiding Carthaginian advantages. The field was wide enough that Romans would feel confident deploying their massive army in standard formation, but narrow enough that their superior numbers would become a liability rather than an advantage. Think about this level of strategic thinking. Hannibal looked at an empty field and saw a death trap. He understood that in the right conditions, having more soldiers could actually make you weaker, not stronger. Most importantly, Cannae looked like the perfect place for Roman-style battle. Open ground, clear sightlines, room for maneuver. The Romans walked onto this battlefield feeling like they'd finally gotten the fair fight they wanted. They had no idea they were walking into a slaughterhouse designed specifically for them. Chapter 3. The Formation. Hiding Genius in Plain Sight. When dawn broke on August 2nd, 2016 BC, the Romans saw exactly what they expected. Hannibal's army, arranged in standard battle formation. Weak center, stronger flanks, cavalry on the wings. It looked like every other ancient battle formation. But Hannibal had done something unprecedented. His center wasn't just weak, it was deliberately designed to collapse. His flanks were just strong. They were positioned to execute the most complex tactical maneuver in military history. Here's what I want you to think about. What kind of general deliberately weakens his center against an enemy with overwhelming numerical superiority? Either a madman or a genius who sees something no one else can see. Hannibal had invented something that had never been attempted before, a formation designed not to win, but to lose in exactly the right way, at exactly the right time. His center would retreat, but not break. It would bend, but not snap. And while Romans focused on this apparent victory, Hannibal's real weapons would be moving into position for the kill. The Romans looked at this formation and saw weakness to exploit. They had no idea they were looking at the most sophisticated battle plan in military history. Chapter 4. The Bait. Making Romans do exactly what you want. At sunrise, 86,000 Roman soldiers began their advance. Consul Varro had ordered the classic Roman tactic: massive frontal assault with overwhelming force. Smash through the enemy's center, roll up their flanks, and end this war. Hannibal's center began retreating immediately, not fleeing in panic, but conducting a controlled withdrawal that looked like the beginning of Carthaginian collapse. Roman soldiers could see enemy warriors backing away from their advance. This is where Hannibal's genius becomes clear. He was using Roman psychology against them. Romans had been trained to press any advantage aggressively. When they saw weakness, their instinct was to attack even harder. Picture this moment. You're a Roman legionary, and your enemies are retreating in front of you. Your officers are shouting to advance faster, push harder, don't let them escape. Every instinct tells you you're winning. You can't see that every step forward is taking you deeper into a trap designed specifically to kill you. As Hannibal's center continued its planned retreat, more and more Roman troops poured into the gap. The Roman formation began to stretch and compress as soldiers in the front advanced faster than those in the rear. The trap was working perfectly. Chapter 5. The Noose Titans. The Genius Revealed. Here's where Hannibal revealed his tactical masterpiece. As his center retreated, it didn't collapse. It formed a concave arc, like a bow being bent backward. The Romans found themselves advancing into a U-shaped formation, with Carthaginian troops on three sides. While Romans focused on the retreating center, Hannibal's African infantry on the wings began wheeling inward. These weren't retreating. They were the strongest, most experienced troops in his army, and they were moving to attack Roman flanks. Now do you see what Hannibal was doing? While Romans thought they were winning in the center, they were actually being surrounded. The retreat was bait, the center was a trap, and the real attack was coming from the sides. But Hannibal wasn't done. His Numidian cavalry, supposedly fleeing from Roman horsemen, suddenly wheeled around and attacked the Roman rear. In minutes, 86,000 Roman soldiers found themselves completely surrounded. Imagine the moment when Roman commanders realized what was happening. They weren't winning, they were trapped. Their numerical superiority meant nothing because they couldn't bring their numbers to bear. Their superior weapons were useless because they were packed so tightly they couldn't swing them. Hannibal had achieved something that military theorists thought impossible. A smaller army had completely surrounded a larger one through pure tactical brilliance. The hunter had become the hunted. Chapter 6. The Slaughter. Tactical perfection in action. What happened next was systematic destruction on a scale ancient warfare had never seen. Romans found themselves pressed together so tightly they couldn't fight effectively, while Carthaginians attacked them from all directions. Here's the brutal mathematics. Hannibal's troops could attack Romans from front, back, and both sides simultaneously, but Romans could only fight enemies directly in front of them. 4 Carthaginians could kill 1 Roman, while the Roman couldn't strike back. Picture being in the center of that Roman formation. You can hear fighting all around you, but you can't see what's happening. Your comrades are falling, but you can't help them. You're surrounded by thousands of your own soldiers, but you've never been more helpless. Roman military discipline, their greatest strength, became their fatal weakness. Trained to maintain formation, they couldn't break ranks to escape even as the trap closed around them. Their own training was killing them. Ancient sources describe the slaughter lasting for hours. Romans couldn't retreat, couldn't advance, couldn't even surrender effectively. They just died, systematically, as Hannibal's tactical masterpiece played out exactly as designed. When it was over, 70,000 Romans lay dead on the battlefield of Cannae. The largest army in Roman history had been virtually annihilated by a force half its size through pure tactical genius. Chapter 7. The Genius. Explained. How it worked. How did Hannibal achieve tactical perfection? By understanding Roman psychology better than Romans understood themselves. He knew Romans would attack aggressively and they saw weakness. He knew they would press any advantage. He knew they valued discipline over flexibility. Every aspect of Hannibal's plan exploited Roman mental patterns. The weak center made Romans confident. The retreating troops made them aggressive. The apparent victory made them careless. Think about what this means. Hannibal won this battle in his mind before the first sword was drawn. He didn't just outfight the Romans, he outthought them so completely that they defeated themselves. The double envelopment at Cannae became the gold standard for tactical excellence. Military leaders from Napoleon to Patton studied Hannibal's formation because it represents the perfect combination of deception, timing, and execution. But here's what makes it truly genius. Every element had to work in perfect sequence. The center retreat, the flank attacks, the cavalry charge. If any piece failed, the entire plan would collapse. Hannibal coordinated a ballet of destruction with split-second timing. Most importantly, Hannibal's plan required adapting to Roman reactions in real time. He couldn't just execute a predetermined script. He had to read Roman movements and adjust his trap accordingly. Chapter 8. The Aftermath. Shockwaves across history. News of Cannae sent shockwaves across the ancient world. Rome, the seemingly invincible empire, had lost its largest army to a barbarian general who was outnumbered 2-1. Allied cities began defecting, enemy kingdoms declared war, and panic spread through Roman territories. But the psychological impact was even greater than the military disaster. Romans had built their identity on military superiority, and Hannibal had shattered that confidence with pure tactical brilliance. Rome's reaction revealed their true strength. Instead of surrendering, they learned. They stopped trying to fight Hannibal on his terms and developed new strategies specifically designed to counter his tactical genius. Cannae forced Rome to revolutionize their military thinking. They developed better intelligence networks, more flexible tactics, and deeper understanding of psychological warfare. The disaster made them stronger. The Battle of Cannae influenced military thinking for over 2,000 years. Every great general from Alexander to modern commanders studied Hannibal's tactics because they represent the ultimate triumph of mind over muscle. Final chapter. The eternal lesson. Cannae teaches us that in conflict, whether military or otherwise, the greatest victories come from understanding your opponent better than they understand themselves. Hannibal won because he could predict Roman behavior with perfect accuracy. The battle also demonstrates that strengths can become weaknesses when facing a superior strategic mind. Roman discipline, numerical superiority, and aggressive tactics all worked against them because Hannibal had planned for exactly these advantages. And there you have it, Hannibal's tactical masterpiece at Cannae, where one man's brilliant mind turned 86,000 Roman soldiers into victims of their own success. This wasn't just a military victory, it was a demonstration of strategic genius that changed how humans think about conflict forever. What impressed you most about Hannibal's plan? The psychological manipulation, the perfect timing, the tactical innovation? Let me know in the comments, and tell me if you think any modern military leader could match this level of tactical brilliance. If you love stories of tactical genius that changed the course of history, you absolutely need to subscribe right now. Next week, I'm revealing the secret weapons that actually built the Roman Empire, innovations that were more powerful than any sword. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and remember, in any conflict, the greatest weapon isn't strength or numbers, but the ability to think 3 moves ahead of your opponent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter of history.